We were a group of 5 friends on holiday in South Africa. Most of the trip had been sightseeing, city tours, and beaches, but a few of us had always wanted to do something more adventurous. That's how we ended up planning a few days of camping in the Knysna forest, which we'd heard was dense, remote, and largely untouched. We arrived early afternoon. The forest was alive with sound. Birds calling from high branches, insects buzzing, and the occasional rustle from small animals. We carried our backpacks, tents, and food, following a narrow trail that seemed to disappear into the green. The first spot we chose for camping was near a small stream. Nothing fancy, just enough room for our tents and a small fire pit. That night, we cooked, talked, and laughed more than we had in weeks. The forest seemed peaceful, quiet, even comforting. Morning came, and with it the plan to move deeper. We decided to change our campsite each night to see more of the forest, explore new areas, and experience different parts of the jungle. No one thought twice about it. It seemed normal, even fun. The second day, after walking a few kilometers along a winding path, we found a small clearing on a ridge overlooking a valley. The air was humid, and clouds were gathering in the late afternoon. By evening, rain started falling in light, steady sheets. We set up our tents, built a small fire, and tried to ignore the sound of raindrops on the canvas. It was during that night that the first odd detail appeared. The rain had softened the forest floor. Mud marked our footsteps clearly. As we moved around our campsite to collect wood and rearrange things, someone noticed marks that didn't match our own. They were faint at first, but unmistakable. Human footprints. They led from the edge of the trees to our tents, then disappeared back into the jungle. No one said much. It could have been locals walking by. The forest was known to have small communities nearby. Still, something felt off. The prints weren't random. They appeared to move along the edge of the clearing, as if someone had been watching us the entire time. The next morning, we discovered more. A pack of snacks was gone, along with a flashlight we had left on the firewood. Nothing else had been touched, but the fact that items were missing made it clear that someone, or multiple people, had been near our tents during the night. We tried to stay calm. It was South Africa. People walk through forests. Maybe someone had gotten lost and was scavenging food. That thought didn't make it feel any safer. By the third day, we had decided to move to another site. This time, we aimed for a small clearing near a cluster of large trees, slightly uphill. It was drier than the last spot with better visibility. We set up our tents and tried to keep busy, cooking, walking, taking photos. But all the while, there was a quiet tension none of us spoke about. That night, the rain returned. Unlike the last night, it was heavier, drumming loudly against the canvas. Morning revealed something more disturbing. Footprints surrounded the perimeter of our tents. They were clearer in some places, partially washed away by the rain, but still visible enough to show a path. They hadn't come from the trail or the open areas we had walked through. They came from the forest and moved around our tents, carefully avoiding the main paths. The distance between the prints suggested multiple people, walking slowly, watching, staying hidden. One of us checked the remaining supplies. A bag of trail mix, a small bottle of water, and a pack of matches were gone. Nothing else was touched. We packed up quickly, finishing as the sun rose, the rain easing into a misty drizzle. The forest felt different in the daylight. Heavier somehow, quieter than before. On our way out, we noticed small details we hadn't seen before. Broken branches along the paths we had walked, leaves disturbed where we had been resting, and shallow depressions in mud indicating someone had followed us for kilometers. None of it felt random. Someone had been tracking us night after night. We left without stopping for photos or further exploration. The drive back to the nearest town was quiet. None of us spoke much. Even joking felt hollow. Something about the forest that had seemed beautiful and inviting now felt wrong. We never returned to the Knysna forest. We talked about it sometimes afterward. The thing that got to us wasn't that anyone could have harmed us directly, at least that night. It was the certainty that someone had been watching, following, waiting, and we didn't know why or how long it had been going on. Even now, months later, whenever we remember that trip, the details stick. The footprints in the mud, the missing items, the way the forest seemed too quiet during the day, the unseen eyes following us. It was a reminder that being in the wild isn't always peaceful, and sometimes the scariest part isn't a wild animal or a storm. It's knowing that someone, somewhere, has been paying attention to you the whole time.